Roses are red, water comes in liters. A trebuchet can launch a 90-kilogram projectile over 300 meters.
Okay, so I started this project while I was at the Arcworlde Weekender. You can see a video about that on my channel. Apologise for the grubby fingers, by the way. Just been stripping some models and spraying. So while I was at the Weekender, this was a separate part, it's top part, and I just put some wires in a couple of these legs, and cocktail sticks in the rest of them, and just lifted it up just because I wanted to give the drop a bit further, make it a bit more realistic. I also removed a bar from across there, and I have reused it across here, which obviously needed lengthening out, so I've done that. So what I did here is I just drilled a hole in each end of the bar that I'd removed, put some wire through, wrapped green stuff around, and then once that had cured, I've just been filing that to try and make it look like all one continuous piece. I'll still need to do some filling in there. I also had to slice this way into the bottom here to remove this bag so the foot could go back there. So I've glued the bag back down, and I've resurfaced the bottom to try and match the thing there. I've also, this corner is missing from the original model, but because of the way I've repositioned the leg, I wanted that to be back on. So I rebuilt this. I might do a little bit more work to sharpen that up, but actually I'm not entirely unhappy with the way that's come out. I think we could still have a nod to the original design by cutting the corner out there. Anyway, next stage is going to be to go back over these legs. So I've made these sections a little bit narrower than the legs above. I'm going to go back over with a thin layer of green stuff on each of these and texture them in. Once I've done that, or while I'm doing that, I've also lengthened out this arm with a bit of wire there. I'm going to leave this off for now so I can work at the legs, but then I'll be just putting that on, and I'll be doing a first layer of green stuff around the outside here and gluing this back in place so I can come back and I can texture this up. Okay, so this first leg, I've done a thin layer, probably only sort of 1/2 mil or so of green stuff, just covering over what I'd done before. I'm just trying to follow these lines in a sort of realistic way. So obviously these are just rough cut timbers, so there would be some bend. But I'm trying to get the edges quite sharp, and I'm trying to get a fairly smooth surface. And then we've got the texture on here, which obviously doesn't transfer down to my green. Just gonna start by getting it flat, and then just sort of follow those lines. And then on the front, same. So there's quite a big line there. Just real carefully drag that up. Now where I've diverged there, just gonna add a little knot. And the bottoms of the pillars are going to be quite important as well, because I want it to look like they are, joined together, and it's been carpentried, and that it's weight bearing. So I want them to look quite sturdy at the bottom. So this is how I'm covering all the sides. Get a little sausage to the right sort of length, and I'm just popping that on there, like a little slug. And then sort of paying attention to where it joins, making sure it overlaps just a little bit, and then getting it down to the desired thickness. So before, just following those lines. This is a bad example because I've got a bag in the way here. Once I'm fairly happy with one side like that, I've got these overlaps on this side, and I'm just sort of folding that round. And I think this is probably going to be enough. Just a fold round this side. Okay, that's 3 down. I've also filled in the gap on the back of this bag. I've also made a sausage for the arm. This is all still removable because I'm going to want to be able to get in this inside, but I was just using up a bit of the green stuff. So I've just built a really rough sausage there, and I'll let that cure. I'll carve it down, and then I'll have something to work on, just like I've got these. Okay, I've got all 6 legs done. It's going to need a little bit of smartening up, but while that's curing, I used to glue the other horn on, back on. I'm going to work on the base. This is the 60mm resin base. Ever since I started collecting Arcworlde Halflings, I've had the same bases. So this little sort of cracked earth, muddy look. Every single one of my Halflings have got that, and all the corks have been from the same place. So my cork tiles that I pulled off a wall during an office refurb in a job that I don't work at anymore. But I still have loads of these. So what I do first is I strip off all the glue off the back of them, because these got pulled off a wall, so there's still bits of like plaster and stuff. But I've got all the glue off the main parts, and I usually start by breaking a piece off about the same size as the base I'm working on, and then breaking that up into smaller bits. And when we get to an edge like this, anything even slightly sharp, sort of just, you don't want to use something too sharp, you don't want to use a scalpel, because you don't want clean lines, you want these sort of scruffy lines. You can just pull apart the cork. So the cracks and the crevices will all be filled in with a bit of PVA, and then I will take the Flinger and attach that on with some pins. So I'm being very careful, try not to mess up the green stuff work I've already done. I really should let it cure first, but I'm impatient. I'm trying to work out the best angles. Now this is a resin model, so it doesn't weigh an awful lot. If this was metal, I'd put pins probably the length of the legs, but I'm really just trying to hold this in place. In fact, I think I'm just going to stick with these 2 back ones. Just going to take these hooves, make sure they're all in line. There's a nice surface there. Now for all the pins on this, I use this 1mm florist's wire that I actually buy from Hobbycraft, just because that's convenient, and when I run out I can just pop in and get more. And the cork's only that thick, so one of these pins I want to be longer than that, and one of them shorter. I don't think we could get away with making them both longer. I'm just trying to work out where I want this guy on the base. I'm using the pin, just digging it into the cork a little bit, make a little mark, keep an eye out for where that mark is, and the angle it goes in at. Sink that right into the base. So double glue on each foot, and the pin on the other foot will just pin into the cork, and there we have it. I'll still be able to get in there and do all the PVA and sand like I normally would. Okay, got a little bit of progress this morning. I have carved down the green stuff blob I made, and this is glued in place now. I have added the lever guy here. He balances quite nicely on the end there, on the little extra bit I built. I carved away a little bit of the wood effect under here and added a bit of cork on the bottom, and then built that up. Not sure exactly what I'm doing here, but I'm going to make a sort of a trigger mechanism, sort of extend that out, because eventually this cup would have sat in this sort of dint here, but I'm going to have to change that. And so now I'm just preparing a little bit of green stuff to cover the arm, so I can do the wood effect down there. Okay, I've got the arm in place, though I might change this end. Next step is I'm going to make a little platform here for this guy to stand on. So I'm going to put him on this side. I think he would look good on that side, but I don't want to have all the halflings on one side, so I'm going to put him over here. I still think that'll look cool. So I found these cocktail sticks that look the same sort of thickness as the other spars and things on here. And I have drilled 2 holes in the side here, and then I've just gone in with my scalpel end, just widened them up a little bit, like so. And then I've cut a length of the cocktail stick, put a tiny dab of green stuff on the end. And a bit of super glue on top of that. And then the whole thing, and ram in the hole. Next, I'm going to take this bit of old business card, and I'm just going to look at how big his little platform wants to be. 2 tiny little drips of glue there. I'm just going to pop that on. So I have covered the little paper platform in green stuff on all sides, textured it up, and then given it a bit of a polish with the emery board, just to try and smarten up some of those lines. I also added this little ladder here, the idea being it was all straight up there, so my little halfling can get up there. So the lever man is looking out towards sort of this direction, so I'm going to put this guy facing a similar way so the whole model sort of flows. And just a little dab of glue on each foot. There he goes. Okay, so if the aim is to make this look a bit more practical, I've been looking at trebuchets online, and they don't tend to have cups like a catapult like this. They tend to have hooks and slings. So I decided, yeah, I'm going to go full flog, and it'll help hide this little dint here, and I think it'll look a bit more sort of accurate, even though it's a fantasy item. And I'm going to take the cup off, and I'm going to replace it with this hook, which I'm going to carve down a little bit. It's not the finished product, and a sling with a rock in it. So I'm getting there with the jeweler's saw. Now I really should have done this before I attached the arm on, but hindsight's 20/20 and all that. There's the cup off neatly. I won't throw that away. You never know when that might come in handy. So I'm going to start by filing down the edges of this. So there's a core of wire, and then the loop is just green stuff, sculpted. So I'm going to start by making it a flat piece. And there we have it. It looks much more like a made item now. If I want to get some of those file marks out, use the fine side of an emery board. That'll smooth it off even further. I'm just going to lift it out of the cork. So I'm going to try and go dead center. I'm just going to dry fit it. Okay, so I'm going to make some ropes to attach the whole thing together. I'm going to start by rolling out this green stuff to roughly the thickness of the rope that I want. So about there will do. I'm then going to just slightly flatten it down. And then I'm going to just very gently twist it around. Just do a little bit at a time. Okay, so I've been working on the sling mechanism for my trebuchet. So the arm is in place and I've sort of melded that in with the end there. I might do a little bit of cleaning up. I have tested one of the ropes I made. I've made a couple of rings, just letting them cure. And I have carved away at my green stuff covered cork to make a little boulder, which I think is about the right size for a halfling to lift. It'll look about right in the sling mechanism. I've also crafted the sling itself and on this bit of plastic, and I'm going to leave that to cure, sat on the back of the boulder. Okay, so I've started constructing the sling parts. So the sling's right around the rock, which is attached with one of the ropes I made, to the loop, which is stuck on the end of there, and that is all glued in place now. And now I'm going to get the second thread from the hoop there to the top of the sling. So now I'm going to try and get a rope from the hoop on the back of the arm to the top of the sling. So there is the second rope, looped from there, folded round, and was just long enough to sit at the bottom of the sling there. So the inside of the sling has still got no texture on it, and the top rope there needs to be extended round through the top of the sling. So I will have to go in once the super glue is dried and do that, and then I think we are pretty much done. Okay, all the green stuff work I wanted to do is done, and I've gone around and just neatened up any of the little bits and pieces. There was a little bit here I wanted to do, just on there, around his feet, and I think I am finally happy with the conversion work. So I am going to get some glue on this base. So I'm just going to go in with this tool and get glue in all the gaps. Okay, I'm just going to go around the edge here, just neaten up any little bits, and the glue, obviously because it's liquid, will just flow into any of the gaps that I missed. I'm just going to scrape off any glue off any of the exposed top bits. The sand will stick to these bits, but that should be easy enough to clear away. Right, I'll leave that to dry, and he's ready for some paint. And that's it for this video. As ever, thanks for watching. And if you like what I did here, or even if you didn't, leave me a comment down below, and maybe even throw a like on there. I aim to make 2 videos a week, so if you want to see more of this, please subscribe. See you soon. Bye.